If you're earning $150,000 a year, you're likely only earning about $56 per hour as an effective hourly rate, and that's if you're based in Australia. The same applies to other geographies as well. Now, today we're going to talk about the operator math. So, by moving to industry from the Big Four consulting, how you can significantly increase your effective hourly rate by keeping all other conditions the same. Now, for anyone that's new here, my name's George. I spent 8 years working at the Big Four in consulting across both London and Sydney before I was made redundant, and within 5 weeks I found a senior industry role matching my salary and significantly increasing my effective hourly rate. Now in this video we're going to make it simple for you to show you exactly what I mean. So with no further ado, let's just get into it. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. So as you can see at the top of this document, we've got the effective hourly rate formula that we've created. And that just shows, to calculate your effective hourly rate, what you're actually doing is you're taking out total annual compensation, which is your base plus your bonus. That amount will differ depending on the geography that you're actually in. Here in Australia, which is where I'm currently located, you actually don't get a bonus at the Big Four until you're literally partner level, pretty much, or above that director level. So that bonus figure won't apply here, but for other markets, I know that's different. And then you're dividing that by the actual weekly hours. That's the actual number of the actual hours that you're working, and you multiply that by 52 weeks for the entire year minus your annual leave entitlements for that geography or country that you're in. Now for Australia, again, you get typically about 4 weeks of annual leave, 20 days on average. So let's just talk through each of the 4 scenarios that I prepared here, just to showcase what I mean. So let's look at scenario A first. Now, as you can see, this I've modeled as the Big Four consulting off-peak rate. So this might be you might be on the bench, for example, when not working on a proposal, or you might be on a very long-term client engagement in a bit of a trough period where it's not too busy and things are chugging along nicely, as I like to call it. You don't need to put in too much overtime. Now scenario B is the Big Four consulting peak scenario, as I like to call it. Now this is when you're really under the cosh on an intense engagement. Maybe it's a 4 to 6 week strategy piece where you really need to over deliver to actually win that implementation work thereafter, or you've got like a load of urgent proposals due and you really got to put in the time to please the partners and hopefully win some more work for the firm. And scenario C, we start with our industry scenarios. Now here we're looking at the equivalent industry scenario, and what by that I mean is we're modeling this scenario based on taking the exact same salary range as if you were working at the Big Four. And then scenario D is where we're looking at the industry ideal scenario, and that's what we look to do in the stealth exit protocol. And this is where we look to, when you exit to industry, you do take that pay increase that you deserve by making that move over from consulting, expecting a 10 or 20% pay rise in some cases, depending on the role you're going for. So those are the 4 scenarios that we're going to be looking at. So let's just run the maths on each of those. So if we look at scenario A, the off-peak Big Four consulting scenario, you've got a salary of $150,000 a year. And I've just taken that as a blanket number. Here in Australia, that's usually done as a package. So you might earn a $150,000 package. That's likely to be maybe a very high end of the senior consultant, or maybe starting, around the manager's bracket as well, potentially. So around those kind of areas. And then the working hours there, I put this off-peak period, let's put it as a blanket 9 hours. So I think that's quite reasonable. Maybe working 9 hours a day during these kind of lower periods. And then the working days per year, I've put that as 221 days. So that's taking off 52 weeks and taking away obviously the weekends, your annual leave entitlements, your sick leave, and then the public holidays too. So it comes out to about 221 days per year. And that creates an effective hourly rate of about $75 or just over $75 an hour. Okay, that's all right. But however, let's go to scenario B. And now this is the Big Four consulting peak scenario. And this is when you're really under the cosh on that high intensity engagement. Now, again, the salary is the same. It's going to be about 150K. Again, we've just taken that blanket number here. Your working hours per day, however, they're going to be potentially up to 14 hours at times. I've done it myself multiple times. So I know that's the actual reality on these engagements. Again, your working days per year, about 221 days, and that cut your effective hourly rate is essentially just over $48 an hour, which is, for a high complexity, high stress job, not great. Let's be completely honest. Now let's go to scenario C, which is that industry equivalent scenario. So the salary is equivalent to your Big Four salary. So let's just take 150K. So you've made that move over to industry and haven't taken a pay cut. Great. Now your working hours per day, they're going to be, again, I'm just using the Australian market as an example, but this will apply to whichever geography you are currently in. But yeah, in the Australian market, the working hours per day, about 7.5 hours a day. And the working days per year, still 221. Now, your effective hourly rate, by reducing your working hours per day drastically, you've already gone up to $90 per hour, or just over $90 per hour. And that's literally just by reducing your working hours per day and keeping your salary the same. So it's already a noticeable increase from that really off-peak Big Four scenario, which, let's be honest, is not that common. Usually you're on most of the time at the Big Four. Okay, but that's kind of the bottom range you're looking at. Like, there's still that significant increase in hourly rate. Now let's go to scenario D, and that scenario D is the scenario that we go for by implementing my stealth exit protocol. And what we're targeting is by making that move into industry, you're taking an increase in salary by maybe about 10 or 20% at times, but absolutely no pay cut whatsoever. So we've just taken the example of 170K here, okay? So you find a great industry role that you're interested in, and you're getting 170K for it. Fantastic. Now your working hours per day, again, they're going to be 7.5 hours. Your working days per year are going to be 221. Now your effective hourly rate in this case is over $100 an hour. You've gone up to 102.5, which is fantastic, right? So let's just highlight these scenarios. These ones in green, and these ones in red. So as we can see, I mean, if we're looking at the Big Four consulting peak scenario, your effective hourly rate is 48. And if we're looking at our industry ideal scenario, which is what we look to get by implementing the stealth exit protocol, then you've more than doubled your effective hourly rate, which is incredible, right? By just taking a role where they pay you what you're actually worth. So it just goes to show the power of this mechanism. So as we've shown by modeling these different scenarios, staying at the Big Four in consulting is actually the only way to lose money. By moving to industry, you're actually getting paid what you're worth. Now, I cover this in a lot more detail as part of my stealth exit protocol. Now, if you want to learn the details about the stealth exit protocol, which actually explains the step-by-step methodology I used to move from Big Four consulting when I was made redundant and land my senior industry role in 5 weeks without taking a pay cut and increasing my effective hourly rate by about 40% in my case, then you can head over to my Instagram page. The handle is George Optimized. You can DM me the word escape and I'll send you a free roadmap which outlines the strategy that I used. Stop working for $56 an hour. You're worth a hell of a lot more than that. See you in the next one.